Hello and welcome to GuruCast, the podcast where we sit down and answer some of your IT questions in a way that we can all understand. First up, let's meet our chief guru, Keith Schoolcraft.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. Great to be with you guys today. I'm the chief executive guru of a couple of gurus. We are an MSP here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, staying warm and staying cold at the same time.
And I'm Janet, the tech newbie who happens to work at MSP. First off, for those that may have no idea what we do, what exactly is an MSP?
That's a great question. An MSP stands for Managed Service Provider, but what that really means is we like to take a proactive approach to managing technology for customers. When we did break-fix work, customers in that model would call us when they had a need. What I had found was we were often fixing the same things over and over. And I had said to myself that, man, if people just would let me come in ahead of time, I could actually fix some of these problems before they even arose. So when we became an MSP and we transitioned to that model, we've been able to do that. Then, of course, now the technology has shifted and transitioned to enable us to do that in a much bigger way today than ever before.
Awesome. Thanks for that introduction. So one of the first things we wanted to talk about today was what our world and our workplace looks like now. COVID has really changed how we live and work. One of the biggest changes we've seen has been the Great Resignation and the rise in remote work opportunities. Can you talk a little bit about what you noticed in the past 2 years with how you as a business owner are responding and everybody's transition?
We had put in a plan for ourselves that was really part of more of a disaster preparedness plan, thinking of what tornado or something along those lines or a building fire. We would periodically use like snow days to kind of test that plan out. And as time went on, we shifted our technology, more and more of it, to be more resilient. So we changed our phone system from an on-premise phone system to a cloud phone system. We moved our on-premise servers to the cloud. So that enabled us, when COVID hit, to really be a good spot to be able to work remotely. So I think it set us up in a good way. And then a lot of our customers where we had been doing technology planning and stuff, they were in a good spot as well. We had some that were newer customers where we weren't as long in their journey, so we had to rapidly assist them in getting set up for remote work and whatnot. So it's been an interesting journey from that perspective.
Sure. Yeah, everyone had to transition pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Do you want to share your thoughts as a business owner on the Great Resignation?
So that has obviously created a challenge for those of us that need to find resources. I think it probably was a reflection, though, of the state of a lot of people as it was, and this was an opportunity to make a change in their life. And just even some folks that I know, some of it was just life challenges that COVID brought upon us, where parents had to stay home with kids. And so one parent had to choose to stay home. Some of those folks have just continued to stay home. Some of them are coming back to the workplace slowly, but this definitely, I think, was a major life change for a lot of people.
Sure. And because of the Great Resignation, we're currently seeing a lot of shortages all across the board in every industry. This has affected everything from labor shortage to computer equipment to cars and food. It's led to some creative problem solving from businesses. How has tech helped these companies adapt?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to look at different ways we can automate so that we can take the resources that we have and use them in new ways and different ways. So that's both like technology resources and human resources, right? But if we could have a computer perhaps automate something for us, that can free up a person's time so that they can now take on some different responsibilities. Some of the interesting tech that I think is really applicable, some of the stuff that Amazon's working on with Amazon Go. We've seen their facilities. If you've been to the airport, you scan your credit card, or if you've set up, you can actually scan your palm of your hand, and then walk into the store, pick items off from the shelves, and then just walk out, and they'll automatically charge you, which I've been waiting to see the opportunity here for, both Sam's Club and Costco to follow suit in some sort of said fashion. Interestingly enough, I don't think a lot of people know about on Sam's Club, their app, you can do scan and go. So you could scan items as you put them in your cart and then bypass the checkout line and just go straight to the validator person at the end. So that was something that I saw Sam's put in over the last 2 years. And I think as a result of some of these challenges.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see them acknowledge that it's a much more efficient
Right.
way all than waiting in line.
Right.
So that same technology that's making Amazon Go and Sam's Club possible and has actually also been the same technology that's been continually improving over the years to make self-checkouts popular. They're more efficient, they're faster, and more convenient. Can you talk a little bit more about kind of what we're seeing as an industry trend with that?
We don't necessarily have a lot of customers in retail. We've had a few that have some need there, and they've all been looking at new POS systems to kind of facilitate some of those types of transitions. I'd afford some new things that I think we have to also watch out for on the security side.
So we've talked a lot about things that, are really MSP related, but more and more our work days and our personal lives are becoming reliant on this technology and the ability to adapt quickly to the changing technology. How does an MSP tie into all this, and what's our role in the changing tech here?
Yeah, I think one of the roles that an MSP can help folks in is when we have a relationship with a customer where they can be open and honest about, some of the things they're facing, be it labor shortages or whatever, and maybe new ideas of things they're trying to implement. When you work collaboratively together, that gives you, the greater we understand them and our customers, the more we could be on the lookout for solutions. It's one of those things where sometimes there's so many unique solutions that have come out in the last, several years that it's hard to keep track of everything that's new that's coming out. So I always try to kind of key off of what have I heard our customers' needs are. And for some with the whole remote workforce, one of those needs that we've had some inquiries was, how do I measure productivity for a remote worker? And some of those things, you would hopefully have some of the same metrics depending on what you do. If you're an organization that bills time, then, that metric would still hold true, as how many hours are you billing and things like that. But we've had a lot of, customers where they don't bill times. They don't have a normal metric that they track in the past. And so they're asking questions of, how do we do this? How do we look at this? And so there's companies out there coming up with solutions of, different methodologies of measuring productivity. We'll see where that industry ends up going from that perspective. But, as those customers have needs and wanting to be able to kind of put some data behind it, software companies are on the other side coming up with these solutions. And so we're always on the lookout for those solutions that can be applied to our customers. Every time I go to a conference, I go through all of the vendor booths and see who has a new and interesting tech that might be applicable to our customer base.
Sure, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that, Keith. We are glad you tuned in to listen. If you have any questions, we would love to hear from you and answer them in a future episode. We're all here to learn and have a good time. So thanks again to Keith. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of GuruCast, the podcast where we have a tech guru explain things in a way we can all understand. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Thanks a lot.